So a lot of times I get asked questions for ForneverWorld. I read one manga, or I only read the big three. I want to get into a different manga. What do you recommend? What is similar to these manga? What's a really good manga that you enjoy that is weekly? And I always think to myself, well, the immediate answer I have is Magi greatness. And I never really went out in a video and said why I think Magi is greatness, or kind of just a general broad discussion of what Magi is all about and just overall why Magi is so amazing. So I felt this video was definitely in order. It's been a long time in the making, and it's finally about to come to you guys why Magi is greatness. And ultimately, this is the manga that I feel if you're into the big three, or you're just into one of the big three and you want to get into a different shonen, here's why you should get into Magi. If you like really intense action with awesome powers, people going in, transformations similar to Bankai's sword battles, then this definitely has that as well. It has the Jin equips, and it has ultimately things that will remind you of Bleach, the great sword fights, and just big transformations like the Bankai's. Definitely you would get some of that Bleach aspect from this, because Magi ultimately has different transformations, and the characters go through different things where it's kind of like, it looks very similar to Bankai's. It's almost as if it's Arabian Bleach in that aspect. But then if you like Naruto, and you like the Naruto and Sasuke situation where they were friends and a lot of times they have falling outs and one is going after the other, Aladdin and Alibaba situation a lot of times can go that route, because Alibaba has to go down a dark path, and not always Aladdin agrees with that path, and sometimes he has to try and get him out of that, or out of that funk, or out of those situations that Alibaba is in. It definitely gets that aspect from that as well, except a lot of times with Aladdin and Alibaba, it can't be as dark sometimes, because Alibaba never really goes that Sasuke route per se, as far as like, you know, I want to kill everyone, kind of like how Sasuke went at some given point, but still it has very similar elements to that as well, when Alibaba is like going down and like, you know, he's with an assassin group, and Aladdin's kind of questioning like, why are you doing this? I don't want you to do this, you're my friend. So you get aspects of that in there as well. You want a deep and complex story with interesting themes, and overall going deep into the story, giving you things that will make you think about life and just the world in general, similar to Hunter x Hunter. There you go. This story definitely goes in. It has the politics, the political aspects of Hunter x Hunter, where it kind of makes you question, is this government right? Is a government system with one ruler right? How should a government be run? And it ultimately makes you question overall, what is humanity? It just really gets deep and just kind of makes you question who's right, who's wrong. Sometimes there isn't a right and wrong. Sometimes it just goes into a very gray area, and it makes you really question the world in general. If you want just a lighthearted and great adventure with an interesting cast, then you got that One Piece feel right here. And a lot of times you'll get jokes, Aladdin loving tits, kind of like Sanji loving the woman. It has a very beautiful scenery. It's just a really broad world, a lot of great world building similar to that One Piece feel. And ultimately, there's almost no character that I absolutely hate unless I hate him for the right reasons, similar to like a Blackbeard. There's even the survival horror aspects of Attack on Titan within this series, when they're fighting the Black Jinn, when the Black Jinn are coming in trying to destroy, and it almost seems like there's no hope of defeating them. You have stuff like the Magnustot War. And ultimately, that's one of the main reasons why Magi is greatness, because it gives you just about every aspect from each manga that you can think of that you will really want. It has fun, it has adventure, it has deep themes, it has world building, it has an incredible cast of characters. But it also has its own thing that it brings to the table as well, with the Arabian Nights, the mythology that it has about the world, a lot of the interesting powers, a lot of the Jinn, the magic, the Rook. There's just so many different things in there as well. At times, Magi can be a little overbearing with the knowledge, but it just overall, sometimes, even when it goes into like a small slump, it has a purpose, and ultimately it serves it very well, because in the end, you're like, holy shit, I got something incredible out of this small slump. And even if you want a little bit of that romance, it's in there as well. Sometimes Shinobu likes to troll characters, but ultimately it's all in good fun, and a lot of times you will get romance, and you will get some small progressions with characters. If a character likes another character, eventually it will be addressed. Maybe you might not like how it's addressed, maybe the character might not feel the same way, or maybe they might say, I need a little bit of time, but ultimately you'll get something out of it. The romance aspect isn't just thrown into the back burner like every other series. I guess except maybe Fairy Tail does romance here or there as well, but yeah. This ain't no Disney's Aladdin for anybody coming in thinking, whoa, is this going to be like that? This takes similar concepts, so you'll have like a blue genie, but this blue genie might be a fucked up person that does fucked up things, or it might be an incredibly powerful thing, and everything has a backstory as well. A lot of the times it'll make you think of theories and like, what happens if this happened, and does this have a connection to this? Magi is greatness because it just gives you everything you will possibly want from a shonen weekly manga. And ultimately, I love it because personally, I think the concepts is interesting, the characters are awesome, and I just love reading Magi because it's amazing. That's why. And people, that's why I've been saying Magi greatness for a while. You should definitely check it out. People ask me what's going on with the anime and manga. To briefly sum it up, Season 1 of the anime is pretty fast-paced, and it covers a lot of material, but ultimately it's still pretty decent up until the end. So I'd recommend maybe watching Season 1 of the anime and reading the manga as well. I personally recommend reading the entire manga, but a lot of people, they want to kind of like just go through the anime and then maybe catch up with the manga. So maybe just reread some bits of the first season. Kingdom of Magic ultimately does a very good adaptation of the material, doesn't rush through everything, and it's ultimately really good. So if you want to just watch Kingdom of Magic without reading the manga, you can do that, and then it picks up at chapter 199 at the end of Kingdom of Magic until we get a third season. As of right now, those are the 2 seasons of the anime. So start off with Labyrinth, go to Kingdom, and then chapter 199. Bam! So the next time you hear me say that Magi greatness, now you know why. But let me know if you've read Magi or seen Magi. Why do you enjoy it? Why do you like it? If you haven't read it or seen it, will you be giving it a chance? Honestly, it's my favorite manga that I'm reviewing right now weekly. It is just something very different from the norm for everything. And it's kind of like, you're never going to get these interesting concepts, and going into Arabian mythology, going into the Islamic culture. It just has a lot of different things that is just really interesting. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, it's that Magi greatness.